Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you this very important question because it sets the tone for the rest of our conversation. How are you feeling, ladies and gentlemen? There we go. And with that, please, creators, if we can have you join us on the stage, grab your seats, please. Leave this one empty for me. Give them a warm round of applause as we bring them onto stage, y'all. It's up to you.
You guys want to.
All right. So Zach, you're over there. I love logistical details as we're figuring it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chirag, and in my 9 to 5, I'm over at Google, where I'm, one of the roles that I get to hold is I'm a brand evangelist. So I get to advise some of the world's largest global advertisers on their brand narrative. In my 5 to 9, I'm a brand historian. I get to travel the world doing research around where brands have existed for the last 200 years and where they're headed for the next 100. And I get to do quite a lot of cool work, whether it's with the NAB show here, Shopify, Adobe, HubSpot, and of course the History Channel with the docuseries The Mega Brands That Built America. But today, more importantly, the role that I get to play is I get to moderate a conversation called Creators Unplugged, where today, instead of having executives in front of you who are going to talk about all the coolest new tech and sort of strategies that make sense in a corporate boardroom, we're going to get to hear from 3 actual creators. And in fact, I love these panelists because they represent a really strong narrative when it comes to the creator economy as a whole. You have individuals who've shaped the way that that economy has been built. You have individuals who've gone incredibly deep into some of the niches, and found a way to really monetize those. And then you have individuals who are leading the front when it comes to, well, what's next? How's everyone feeling? You guys ready to get started? There we go. So, our first panelist right here, Shira Lazar, is our first panelist. She's an Emmy-nominated digital cultural expert, keynote speaker, and a dedicated mental health advocate. For 2 decades, she's been a pivotal force in shaping the creator economy by doing things like founding the pioneering digital news brand What's Trending and growing it to over 3 million followers. She shared her insights on stages from South by Southwest to VCon to, of course, NAV here, and has earned a spot on Fast Company's most influential women in technology list, alongside with Variety Women's of Impact list. We can applaud for that. We can. There we go. She's also co-founded Peace Inside Live, or Peace Inside Live.
Live. Well, we can talk about creators for mental health. Fast forward to creators for mental health. That's a long bio. Okay, continue.
And she has launched Creators for Mental Health. Go straight to it, right? To bring vital tools to the creator community. Today, she advises companies on emerging tech and hosts the influential Alpha newsletter and the AI Download podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, when you've been a defining voice in digital culture and the creator economy for over 20 years, we don't just call you one of the original architects. We call you Liza Lazar. Please, y'all, give a big round.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And also, I'm part of the NAB Creator Council now, which I need to add to my bio, and we'll talk more about that. But thank you so much for that wonderful intro.
Of course. Moving from there, y'all, and keep the applause going, is our next panelist is an innovative content strategist and media producer, recognized for his role in building one of the largest food brands or food media brands in the world. As head of content and right hand to celebrity chef Nick DiGiovanni, he engineered the digital strategy that scaled Nick's channels from 1 million to over 50 million followers in just 4 years. His leadership has helped generate over 15 billion views, earned 2 Streamy Awards for Best Food Creator, and has set 11 Guinness World Records. That is insane. Ladies and gentlemen, we can clap for that. That is wild, right? And meanwhile, he's doing all this while also managing an effort that is working with brands like Shake Shack and producing amazing viral moments like the world's largest sushi roll. Ladies and gentlemen, when you've engineered the strategy behind 15 billion views, we don't just call you the mastermind of content. We call you Zach Blank. Please.
Thank you, Chirag.
Of course.
What a kind introduction.
Of course. And we're down to our last introduction. I promise from there we get to hear them speak a bunch, right? Next we go. Our next panelist, at just the age of 23, has already become a successful content creator, a musician, entrepreneur, innovator, and leader. This guy loves saying yes to things, right? As a creator, he's garnered over 6 million followers under his stage name, Rod and Flash. And as a manager, he has scaled creator and artist Huddy from 200,000 to over 500 million followers in just a year and a half. He's been a featured creator at TEDx, CES, and VidCon, and currently runs Reach, the first and only collegiate influencer organization, which he started in USC and has now expanded to over 100 universities. Under his leadership, Reach has grown into a full-service marketing agency, a content studio, a talent firm, and a venture arm with equity in over 25 different startups. Ladies and gentlemen, when you've built a multi-division media empire from just your dorm room, we don't just call you the future of the creator economy, we call you Dylan. Please, a round of applause.
Thank you for the intro.
Of course, of course. Now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we can begin with our panel. Before we do that, how you three feeling?
Amazing. I was going to get my phone because I want to capture the audience right now.
I've been trying to do that for the last 5 minutes.
I actually was like, shoot, I need my phone. Someone can, get your phone and then I want to capture.
Why don't you do it on my phone?
Oh, wow. A lot of trust here. I've known Dylan for a while.
For those of
I just want to capture everyone. Say hi, everyone. Hey. All right. That's it. It was just on my mind. It was going to cause a neurotic spiral until I did it. We all have some mental issues. That's why I'm in the mental health space. When you're a creator, there's something there that's different.
I feel like it wouldn't be a creator panel if we weren't making content live.
Thank you.
It's kind of fitting.
There you go. I used to, in a lot of my talks, I always forget to take a photo with the audience. So now I actually have slides in the talks that stop me and go, Chirag, take a photo at this point. You're going to want to, right? But enough about me. Jumping into the three of you. You three have achieved a significant amount of success in a very short period of time. But let's rewind for a moment. And I want to hear about that pivotal moment, or a pivotal moment. What was the moment where you started doing this and you were like, you know what, this is making sense? And that could be when you started your journey or a project that you're working on right now. And then what was that moment where you went, you know what, this has got to go off of my brain or out of my brain and into the real world?
Well, for me, it hasn't been a short amount of time. I've been hustling for 20 years. I know I look young, but I'm in my early 40s. And so, I've had many amazing moments of success. I feel like there's a new wind beneath my wings right now, which is really exciting, because, I think there was a certain point in the creator space where I felt like it wasn't for me anymore. Like it was, it is still very young. And obviously it's so important to connect with what Gen Z and the next generation is doing. But I wondered, maybe this is just a young industry. And now I think where it's going in the next stage, there's so many generations and backgrounds involved. And I think it's really rewarding people that have been in it for a long time, that have expertise and wisdom. So I think that's really cool for me. And the moment that was game changing for me was I was at CBS News in 2008 or so. And at the time, viral video stars, people would blog about them on Mashable. Or they'd be featured on morning shows, and talk shows, but weeks after they went viral. So I noticed that there was a gap and no one was capturing them on video in real time. So I started doing that for CBS News because I was the first blogger there. But before I knew it, the viral videos like Double Rainbow Man and Antoine Dotson, hide your kids, hide your wife, this is very old school viral.
That is such a throwback.
I was coming up my interview with them next to the viral video and I realized, oh my God, there's a beat here, right? Just like traditional broadcasters had their beat in politics or weather or entertainment news, I realized there was a beat in digital culture and interviewing creators. And so for me, that was a aha moment that led me to launching What's Trending.
Nice. Take it away.
I'll throw that on my side. I think my moment where, this was something that I wanted to do. I mean, I started social media when I was 14, so I was very young when I started. And I started on a lip syncing platform called Musical.ly. For me, the reason why I started was I was getting bullied in middle school and I built my following to show other people that there's others to relate to them. So it was very mental health focused, very value based. I wanted to build a community where everyone else was posting lip syncing content. I gained 30,000 followers in the first week. So it was very quick to grow a following. First 6 months, 100,000 followers. And then I started going on influencer tours. And I think when I went on tour was the moment where I really understood what I was trying to build, right? It wasn't seeing 20,000 people watching my stream and not being able to put a face to it. But it's now that I'm in person, being able to see the impact that you're able to have and the impact that social media is able to have. I think that that's how I really thought about this industry. Since I was 14 to now being 23 years old, when I was on tour, we were chatting with parents and parents were like, your streams saved my children's life. And I think that that's so inspiring and it really shows the importance of really knowing the power of social media and the power that you have to make even one person's life different and to change them. So I think like that's been my pivotal moment. Obviously, content creation in the world of social media has always been changing. It's always adjusted. And for me, that's forced me to adjust myself, like what platforms I'm on. Musically died and now it's TikTok. And, for me, my biggest platform right now is Snapchat. I'm getting 20 million views every day on Snapchat. So 200 million monthly views on Snapchat. So it's forced me to reinvent who I am every single day, which I think is great. It has its pros and its cons. But I think every day I'm waking up and understanding why I'm in this industry. It's changing so much. And to be able to look back when I was 14, getting started in this industry, now seeing what I'm building and being able to work with creators who I was friends with when I was 14 and now being able to help them get brand deals and help other companies be able to figure out how they can be able to work with creators. I think that that's been such a cool thing where I'm really in a unique position to be able to do that.
Yeah, I love that. And for context, just very quickly before you go on is, when we were sort of prepping for this panel, my big ask to all of them was give us details. I want to hear actual stories of what happened and the tools that you're using. So we'll dig in a little deeper into the tools and what's changing and all that. But hopefully I want you all to walk away with actual value here, right? Take it away.
Awesome. I'd say for me, the kind of first pivotal moment I had in this whole space was realizing that a lot of the kinds of media that we do or a lot of things on social media are, if you think about it, things that have existed for a long time. Like, for example, food YouTube videos. That's a very recent thing. However, food content as something that people consume is something that's been around for probably 100 years or so, like since Julia Child or whoever was before her. Like people have been watching traditional food media for a very long time. So I think the first kind of moment that popped in my head is realizing that I guess to tell you a story, when I grew up, my number one thing that I loved was the Food Network. And I would grow up watching people like Bobby Flay and Ina Garten and Alton Brown. And I was just obsessed with the Food Network. And then when I was growing up a little bit older, I realized that a lot of those, as TV was kind of declining in the 2010s, I realized that a lot of those people were kind of fading out of relevancy, at least for me, because I wasn't watching much linear TV at that point. And I kind of realized that it wasn't like food content was disappearing. It was just transitioning somewhere else. Like it was going to places like social media, YouTube, anything like that. So that was kind of my first like impetus of thinking this is something I loved growing up was food content and what can be like the next frontier of it. The other thing that was pretty pivotal for me was the way I actually got my job in the first place, which I think kind of speaks to the whole creator industry as a whole, which is I got my job from a cold email that I sent to my boss, at the time. He was a much smaller creator at the time. I knew nothing about making videos except for the passion I had for food and for food media just as a consumer. But I just pitched all that. I pitched my background and my hustle and in just one cold email, I was able to get this job with the smaller creator that ended up being something that we grew together into something today that's we're very proud of. So I would say it's the whole space is really something of just like hustle and passion and a lot of things that might not seem possible, but with just like an email or an idea can be very possible.
Dang. I love all three of them have touched on this idea that the platforms, the tools, and the sort of whatever we have at our disposal, it tends to shift over the years. And especially now, I think it moves much faster. But at the end of the day, the narrative still remains, right? Food content at the end of the day is still just people loving the app, like seeing someone make food, right?
Also, you'll see a theme from, I think, this community of adding value versus extracting value, which I think is just a mindset shift. And so a lot of us as creators, when we're talking about collaboration, whether you're big or small, we're not just talking about like, what can I get from you? Although you do know, hey, if I do something with you, I might get more followers or shares, but it's really about finding that win-win. And I think that's what traditional media and traditional brands can take away, especially as we're moving more into a time of moving beyond transactions. Although, money and contracts is key, but into real partnerships and collaboration and co-creation. And I think it's a mindset to approach creator partnerships in that way with adding value.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any comments on that? Yeah. Leave it open. Awesome. So, yeah.
I think Shira nailed it.
There we go. Right. But actually on that point, right? So if we're talking about these collaborations, these deals, these opportunities to sort of grow your brand, walk us through some of the scrappy, actionable things that you've done, right? Any stories, any fun things to tell us like, hey, we tried this thing and we didn't realize what a hit it was going to be. I know Zach's like, he's just waiting to go on this. He has an amazing one, which is, well, actually this question was formed just because I know what your answer to this is going to be.
I would say there's a couple things here. I think that the beauty of social media is that there is something kind of inherently scrappy about it at its core. And almost every single one of our collaborations have been some kind of like quid pro quo type of thing. Like we do this, we link up with someone, a celebrity or some brand deal or something, and there's something that both sides get out of it. It's always some kind of like mutual share, whether it's money or a content opportunity or a free trip to wherever. There's something mutual. One thing that I think we kind of explored on our team that was kind of unique is, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Guinness World Records. Like when we were kids, we probably read those blue books in the school library with all the Guinness World Records in them. We realized when we were first starting out, we were just trying to think of ideas that can make us stand out and go viral, is what people always say is like the buzzword. And we realized that these Guinness World Records were something that, had been like a shared favorite thing of so many people. Like it's kind of inherently fascinating to hear about the world's biggest this or the world's fastest that. There's like, it's literally a world breaking feat. So what we did, going back to like the quid pro quo, is we had this idea that nobody was really exposing and doing these Guinness World Records on social media. But we thought it would be really exciting because we had this thesis of that people really enjoy them. So what we did is we went to the company, Guinness World Records themselves, and we basically negotiated this deal where normally I can talk about this for a while. I'm sure this could be a separate panel on Guinness World Records, but it's very expensive to do. It's this crazy kind of scheme that they have where it's very expensive to work with them. But we were able to work out this thing where we made content for them and doing a world record. And in exchange, they basically gave us all the things for free. They kind of helped us out a little bit. So I'd say it speaks to social media of this kind of trade idea of like what a collaboration can be. Like there's always something creative you can work out. You often can negotiate better rates or get things for free or whatever if you're creative about what both sides can do.
So Zach, quick question for that. Was that also a cold email or?
It was a cold tweet, actually. It was a tweet to Guinness World Records that then turned into a less cold email, I guess.
You're really like igniting my faith in like cold emails and phone calls and
it's big. I mean, I do them all the time, every week. Like I'm probably like, it seems like these guys are too. Like I think a lot of people don't realize how powerful just a cold shot in the dark can be. Like it's obviously not going to work every time, but it can be quite effective.
Yeah, I would say, commenting on, a brand or an executive's post.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It doesn't mean it's an automatic yes, but it doesn't hurt to shoot your shot. And I just think like you're never too big to do something like that. In the end, it goes back to how much do you want it, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do it, someone else will. So if you're going to go by the traditional means, good luck.
Yeah.
But it's always about finding the other door.
Yeah.
There was someone, Alex, Banyan, not pronouncing his name right. He's someone I know, but he had a book called The Third Door.
Yeah.
And it's always about like, what is that third door? So I think a lot about that when it comes to opportunities of, everyone will see the front and the back door, but what's the other door? And that, for me, I've always thought of, my work and my opportunities that I've gotten as that, where I meet people at conferences, events. I'm cold DMing or emailing. I'm in the comments. I'm posting about, if it's a tool or a brand that I use, I'm posting about it and with it. And, so I'm going through every sort of way to, connect and engage with the brand in an authentic way. And so it's not like, again, like 100% that something's going to happen, but there's more of a percentage chance it's going to happen than me doing nothing.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
At least on my side, because I started social media when I was 14 and I'm not, someone who's much older who can, go network at these conferences and reach out to brands. I was strictly cold emailing, and every single day I'd reach out to 200 brands a day. And this was 2016, right?
Wild.
So influencer marketing wasn't a budget as it is now, right? So I'd reach out to 200 brands and it'd be like the hello@danielwellington.com email address to convince them on why they should work with me. And I think, I took away two things. First and foremost, it's fine to start off with doing gifting. I got a lot of gifting. It felt like Christmas every single day at my house. I got a package a day from watch brands and clothing brands, and it was great. And then, transitioning to building that relationship. I think that when I sent out emails, a lot of people also didn't know I was 14 years old. So it was like, okay,
but were you sending them out as Dylan, or were you like making a fake, like...
Oh, a fake manager.
Oh, 100. I'm like, I'm looping my manager. It's me in a whole different email.
It's gonna be my friend, Buddy Walt. Nobody knows who he is, but it's me at the end of the day.
That's not possible these days. Everyone goes checks people on LinkedIn and everything.
I was 14, so
I love
didn't even have a LinkedIn back then.
I love the hustle around that.
Zach, I know you're itching to jump in here, but just very quickly on the LinkedIn point, I think that's one of the most slept upon, like, sort of platforms for creators, but also
LinkedIn is the biggest platform right now. It's the biggest opportunity. And here's why. On Instagram, you might have 100,000 followers, but how do you know every single one of those followers, who they are, where they work,
user 4758,
their position is at these companies? LinkedIn, one, is undersaturated with creator content. Not as many people are posting on LinkedIn as they are on TikTok.
Just give me like 1 month, let me post all my content, then all of you join along.
So it's so undersaturated. And undersaturated platforms are the platforms you need to jump on, because if you're the main people posting, then obviously you're going to get more visibility. There's over 39,000 people with over 1 million followers on TikTok. That's so saturated. The sea of content on TikTok is insane. LinkedIn is a very value-based platform. So it's not like you're posting those skits that you're posting on TikTok. It's a very different platform. Shira just posted a newsletter post today. Go like and comment on Shira's post.
Yeah, it's all about legacy media and how everyone's getting fired, and now they're looking at creators as an opportunity. So go check it out on my LinkedIn.
So I think that LinkedIn is so valuable because you get to have those inner relationships with industry leaders, create influencer partnerships. People are not looking at TikTok daily unless they need to find creators for a campaign. They're actively working on LinkedIn and looking at other people that they should be networking with. And if you're a creator who is creating content on other platforms, you should be talking about why this was successful or what made this brand collaboration successful on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree. The thing that I always think of is that think of any CMO at any company who's probably making all the marketing decisions. These people are not really on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube. Like they might not even have accounts on these platforms. Like a lot of times what I've learned is that their kids tend to be the ones who are like helping them learn who's trending and stuff. But what also happens is that none of us can connect with these people on Instagram, but we can connect with these people on LinkedIn, because that's where these CMOs are. So it really is a very important tool to be able to connect with the people who are just making those decisions.
Absolutely. I think, Ed, to ask the crowd really quickly, how many of you are actual content creators? Raise your hands. Like, you're actively creating content at the moment. How many of you are on the other side where you're actively looking for content creators for your brands, right? And for those of you that are both, raise your hands as well. A few of you, nice. Everyone, who's got a LinkedIn profile right now? Nice. Okay, so everyone's connected.
You should be following all of us.
Here's another thing. I don't believe that you need to be a content creator to be creating content on LinkedIn. And here's why. I believe that every single person, and especially every single person in this room, should have a personal persona on social media. Every single person has influence. Let's get rid of this aspect of influencer versus content creator. Everyone is an influencer. You might be an influencer to a small finite number of people. Maybe it's just your parents, or maybe it's your spouse, etc. But everyone has influence. And we live in a time where it's so important to have, a public persona on social media, because, I mean, let's be honest, the job market's so ever changing. If tomorrow you lose your job, where's the first place that you're going to turn to for to look at it, for a new job. You're going to look to your peers. And how are you going to connect with your peers? LinkedIn is going to be the strongest place for you to be able to do so. And if you're making a LinkedIn post tomorrow that says, hey, I just got laid off. Does anyone have any warm lead for a new job? And you have 0 followers on LinkedIn and you're not actively posting, who's going to see that post, right? You have people around you that you know. And especially in this room, there are so many people that you can be connecting to on LinkedIn. And you don't know how powerful that one connection that you make today is going to be. So adding people on LinkedIn allows you to keep up with them. Obviously, iMessage great, and it's important to have people's phone number, but you can be able to really be in touch with people and what they're doing on the business world through LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Before we move on to the next point there is, I think one of the things we wanted to talk about is this idea of how do you build community, right? So quite a lot of brands are great at producing amazing content and putting it out there, but your story is only as strong as like the amount of times it is retold afterwards, right? Similarly with the video, it only matters if people are actually like learning from it, actually building this sort of connection and replying back. What has that journey been for the three of you, right? Just putting content out there versus building a community, two completely separate things to do.
Yeah, well,
one is just hit publish, the other is actually engage.
One, is about broadcasting out, and community is about being in community, conversing, connecting, speaking and listening and exchange, in its essence.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not just about connecting online. I think for me, where I built community is IRL too. And a lot of, I think brands underestimate the power of that. And so, are you just showing up in spaces, or how are you adding value based on the culture and the people that you're trying to connect with? And it doesn't need to be that complicated. It just like literally is about asking them, what are your needs right now? What do you want? What would make this feel like a more authentic connection? How can I support you?
Wow.
And even from some of those questions, you'd be amazed at how many ideas can happen that could even build an entire campaign for a year.
Yeah.
Right? And so a lot of times I think that it's the brands are just always thinking about like the demos and how much growth and all that, with like not coming back to the foundational essence of their why and their purpose, and actually like having conversations with the people they're trying to connect with.
Absolutely.
So like sometimes it's about going back to the basics and then building from there. And that's where I built my community is, for me, I love interviewing people. I love hosting. So it's about how do I tell your story? And then of course I got empowered to tell mine, which I hope by living my truth and being in my highest form of expression, that supports other people and seeing that it's possible for them. That's my essence. That's my purpose. That's my why.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I constantly come back to, as my filter, whatever platform I'm on or whatever I decide to say yes to.
Looking at sort of KPI or that key metric that you're going to. In your case, it's that deeper connection, right? That's
and like, how do I add value, and how do I be happy myself so that I'm also approaching the world from a place of joy and happiness versus anger and hate and annoyance? Because who wants to connect with that? Although we do. By the way, we do reply to a lot of that stuff.
We do. Yeah. Exactly.
I'd say one word I'd emphasize from what Shira said is authenticity.
Yeah.
For me, another word I always think of when it comes to community is trust. I heard a while back from a mentor of mine. He had this line that trust is very hard to gain and very easy to lose. And I think that's especially true on social media when there's thousands and thousands and maybe even millions of content creators all around the world. Like there's like we were just talking about, there is a lot of saturation. There's a lot of competition. And I think what sets people apart for the people who rise to the top with big communities is that they can build trust with their audience and create this relationship that feels authentic. I think that it's what I would steer away from is maybe like, or what we try to steer away from is like, for example, we try not to do too much branded stuff and too many advertisements because we feel like it is pretty clear at a certain point, when something is an ad. Like, what a TV commercial is. You probably also know what like a social media commercial is. And we want to be able to just,
can you all hear Zach despite that noise over there? Okay, perfect. Keep going.
We just want to be able to be authentic to ourselves. And I would say trust is just something invaluable when it comes to building a community.
See, I'm the opposite because I will take money from people. No, but it needs to be the right brands and about figuring out. And I think that I build trust by saying I can't do what I'm doing without getting paid. So I'm going to be honest about it, and I'm going to try to build a long-term partnership with folks, or working with brands that I use or figuring out an authentic connection with that brand. So I think that there's also on the other side, as creators are being more transparent with how they're making money and that this is a business and an industry, bringing the community in on it to say like that they're celebrating your success with you, right? And trust is not just with your community is also the industry.
Yeah.
So if you're a shitty person and are hard to work with and flaky and not cool, then the industry will also respond to that and react to that. So I think it goes both ways. It's what you're doing in front of the camera and behind the camera. That's why I've been in this business for so long.
Dylan, just before I quickly, just to let everyone know, in about 5 minutes, if there are questions, we might open it up to the group. We're just going to wait on the timing to see if that's possible, but letting you all know so you can prep your questions in advance. We won't have a lot of time, probably time for about maximum 2. So make sure they're good ones, right?
Let me touch on, everyone on my panels, kind of what they're talking about for, to make it a little value based. I like to think of, as a manager and representing over 100 creators on our side, I like to think of all of our talents pages as another media channel, another TV network, right? You have commercials and then you have the normal content that you want to watch, right? And you can't have 100% commercials because who's going to tune into that? You can't have 0 commercials because how are you going to be able to make those videos that you want to make, right? So you have to find that organic balance, but you also have to find that balance that gets your followers to be like, okay, this is enough that I'm fine to watch these commercials. Maybe the creators integrated it so well that it's so seamless that it doesn't even feel like a commercial, right? It just feels really value based. And then allowing that to come to fruition so that you can have a perfect account where you are able to make the videos that you want to make. I mean, making content, especially as you get to, a higher echelon, it costs money. You need a videographer, you need an editor, you need, multiple people on your team, and that's not free. That comes with a cost. So you need to be able to pay for that. I'll answer your question that you asked, now that I kind of harped on that. I think for me as a creator, I've been very unique in the sense of, for me, community was day one. And my following was legitimately, in a sea of, like I said, in a sea of content where it's all lip syncs. I was sitting down talking to other, 14-year-olds at the time, 14, 18-year-olds about how mental health is so important and how everyone is in the same boat. I think I was able to bring this into a larger creator community via my company Reach, where we are able to allow creators to be able to come together, learn from each other, collaborate with each other, and really grow. I think something that I've seen that's a big problem in creator space is burnout. Creator burnout is so huge and it's so inevitable. And that was me when I was 17 and 18 years old. I got burnt out. And now being able to build a community, I've realized that creators need to rely on other people. While typically the creator economy is such a solo entrepreneur type of role where it's, very self-isolating. You're making content in your bedroom all by yourself. You need that personability where you are able to interact with other peers, where you're able to come up with ideas and group think and collaborate with others. You need that. That cannot disappear. And every other industry, you need to rely on other people. This is the one industry where it's like, it's very self-isolating. If you are a TikToker, you probably are making TikToks in your bedroom by yourself. But I felt like that's so important, that aspect of community amongst other creators. And I think, there's a lot of community that are starting to pop up. You have my community Reach. You have you have Creators for Mental Health. You have Creator Economy NYC here in New York. My mom just started this thing called the Bay Area Creator Economy in the Bay Area. You have these pop-ups starting to come to fruition, and I think that that's so vital and valuable in this creator space.
Absolutely. And I think I'm glad you brought up Creator NYC, Creator Economy NYC, sorry. Big shout out to them. They're also a great group that's putting together quite a lot of events throughout New York City and sort of connecting creators and brands to each other. Make sure to check them out. But on that point, to sort of close us out here very quickly, right? Tools or things that you've been using recently where you're like, you know what, this is either an emerging tech or this is a tool you've been using for a while where you're like, this feels good and it was valuable. It's useful, right? I can cut down the mess for everyone else to sort of recommend some things. This is also where you're about to get your brand partnerships for the next few weeks, right?
I mean, my go-tos that I use day to day, Riverside, CapCut, Opus, and I mean, later.com for scheduling. ChatGPT, I'm trying to think of, what else?
Use Descript.
No, I don't
I use
Descript as much
Descript.
sometimes. Yeah. That's like, those are my go-to day-to-days right now. Yeah, I don't know.
Dylan and Zach?
Yeah, I would say I feel like there's such a buzzy topic now of like AI in the creator space. I think a lot of creators use AI pretty regularly, if not like very, very often. Like I don't know a single creator who doesn't use ChatGPT to help them with scripts and ideas and stuff. I think the key point for me still is like, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the new app called Sora, which is like TikTok, but it's only AI stuff. Um, I still, I still see AI really as a tool to help creators as opposed to a tool that's going to replace creators. I think there's maybe a lot of fear, but like even for me scrolling Sora, I think that it's there are certainly certain videos that are great on Sora and AI and certain videos that are very fun, but I've yet to see any AI take over entirely what we could do. There is still a human touch.
Channels, but I'm not worried. I mean, because, they can't be an AI here to talk to you or to MC. Like, I think a lot of creators are going to start to look at,
Physical spaces.
different, types of revenue, including, speaking, community building, events, ways that they can't be replaced because you want to, and they're building community online and offline.
Yeah.
And so there will be just like any industry, like versions of that. If every version of a creator was that, or every musician was that, it gets boring. It's a bit of like the marketing thing right now, but not everyone can be an AI. Like, Little Michaela was around years ago, the CGI influencer. Does that mean every influencer became CGI? No, there's going to be a place and for every.
I think that CGI creators don't work well and they're not successful. I think they're more of a commodity and a fad rather than anything. I agree with my fellow panelists. I was going to say the same thing. AI is so huge, and there's never been a panel in the last 2 years where I haven't said something about AI related.
I was really hoping I wasn't going to make this the AI panel, man.
We are talking about AI now for the last 30 seconds. I believe that AI is a paintbrush in the toolkit. It's a calculator in math class, right? You can't get rid of AI, and the best way that you can navigate AI is to be able to take it and understand it, because everyone's using AI and it makes you so much more productive. I mean, Shira gave a lot of tangible tools, and we both are on the NAB Creator Council, and just yesterday I was telling the rest of the NAB Creator Council all the like AI tools that I use. I use
admin tools though.
Admin tools.
Because we don't have admin.
I think that here's the thing. Every creator needs to start thinking of themselves as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
That is a point blank thing that you need to think of. You need to be able to think about how you're going to grow your company, how you're going to scale. And I use a lot of tools that the typical business startup utilizes, right? I use Fixer.ai, which writes my emails. I use a tool called Blockit, that will schedule my meetings for me. Obviously I use Canva and all these other things, Fireflies that take my meeting notes. The big thing is you need to start thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur. You need to be thinking about other ways to monetize. You need to be thinking about other ways to scale and grow. And the tool that you need to use needs to get you to who you want to be. And the big mission that you should focus on is turning yourself from a solo creator into a media company. And how are you going to get there, yourself there?
I love that. Anyone want to close this out? Any last comments there? Right? Honestly, I think that was a great way to end out, is stop thinking of yourself simply as a content creator. You are now a media empire. And thanks to technology like AI and the communities that are being built, and thank you for many of you building those communities for the rest of us, it's a lot easier than it's ever been before. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving them a big warm round of applause.
You could do a question.
Absolutely. That's what I was checking. Do you have time for a question?
One or two questions.
Right, I'm going to tackle right over there. Could we run a mic over? Is it possible, or right there?
Hi. Can you talk a little bit about supply and demand for the older generations, maybe Gen X, baby boomers? I mean, because those are great targets for some of the brands they have massive disposable incomes.
Are you talking about as a creator or a brand?
As a creator, is there enough content? Is there enough demand?
I think it's, you need to stop thinking of, all right, yes, of course it's important as a business person to think of the blank space or if there's enough for an opportunity, but you won't know until you start doing it. And in the end, as you said, there are still brands that are trying to connect with that. Like, I think if you see an opportunity and you have a passion, then start delivering on that versus overthinking whether there's enough there for you. If you're living and breathing your life, there's other people living and breathing that life too that want to connect with similar like-minded people. So I think there's definitely a need, and actually more and more platforms are looking for multi-generational folks. I think there's going to be a huge opportunity as time continues, not just for Gen Alpha and Gen Z, but for everyone else. We're seeing more of that happening, more diversity in terms of that too.
I think that I think that social media is very multi-generational. I think that people need to stop thinking about different medium forms and that, radio's old and traditional, etc. Everybody is on social media and, it's like everybody has a phone. It's constant. It's here. The big thing about multi-generation is that it's about how you target those individuals, right? There are different creators that target different age groups. Yeah. And if you're a brand, there's different ways to navigate ads to target that generation that you want to target. Everyone is on social media. That's not a point blank statement. It's just about the platform that they're using. Just like, I don't think that Shira is as active on Snapchat like me, who's in.
My company though is.
Yeah,
that's
on Snapchat. Never mind. But I think, a lot of older people are less on Snapchat. A lot of younger people are more on Snapchat. Sorry for calling your age out.
Fine. Elder.
You're the one who said you've been in this industry for 20 years. But there's other platforms and you need to figure out what the right platform is and what the right medium is. It's all about how to navigate it.
Yeah.
To me, what comes to mind with that is really just about being intentional to pick your topic of social media. I have a friend, for example, who runs a big golf YouTube channel, and the CPMs on his golf channel are the highest I've ever heard of any topic. And it's like, it's basically a fact that it's the highest. Golf is the highest CPM topic of any topic out there. And golf, for example, is something that often reaches like older men in the US is like your target there. And I think it's just important when you're trying to reach older generations to make sure that you're kind of approaching a topic that will resonate with a generation like that.
Another question right there. Yeah.
Just pausing for a moment. Do we have the time for one more question? Are we good? There we go. One more. There we go.
Hi, thank you. I know you guys were talking about brands, and I'm also a creator, and I'm stuck in this chicken or the egg situation with brands want to see talent attached and talent want to make sure that you're fully funded. How do you navigate the chicken or the egg situation?
Oh, what? How do you manage the chicken or the egg situation of a brand wants to see talent attached, talent wants to see the brand attached? I mean, I think as a talent, and both I've packaged stuff too, I think that most talent know that if you're going out for an idea, and like you also have to build the relationship with the creator, and there needs to be that trust of, we're putting this together, we want to package you in it. Would you be down for us to include your name and headshot in the materials? And if they say yes, then we're going to be a go. We can negotiate blah, blah, or what's your rate? So we include that. Talent send their rates out and price out for a lot, but it is about having that trust and with someone, that they feel like you're not going to just use their name and likeness to get a deal for you. Right. So, I would say that's like the most important thing when you're packaging, I think, a creator for a brand. I think with also brands, a lot of times I do sample talents. And then I say part of the work and what the budget is going to is for me to actually then put in the time to work on those contracts. So a lot of times it will be, sample talent, and then I'll have case studies of past stuff I've done where I've worked with other talent. Yeah. I don't know if
Anything add on there?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's very tricky. And at the end of the day, I think any creator needs to remember the value of their time. Like we've probably all talked to a brand or something who is essentially asking you to do like a week's worth of just free work for like, hey, here's like a shot in the dark. Like maybe if you do all this work, we'll give you money one day. I think the relationships are super important. And like Shira said, you need to kind of give something to build up that relationship. But I would just be mindful of what it is that you're willing to give up for something that might not actually materialize.
There's a way that just to say, like, you could say to a creator or the manager, can I put you on a short list that I'm bringing to the brand? A lot of times people will say, sure. And then it's like, all right, if you get the money, great. If you don't, then whatever. But like, do it more like that versus can I package you and use your name and likeness? Don't make it such a big deal. Hey, I'm putting a thing together. I want to give a short list to a brand. Are you down? Are you interested? Yes. Okay.
I'll wrap it up with 3 kind of overarching themes. 1, I believe that brand partnerships in general is a two-way street. The creator needs to like the brand needs to like the creator. 2, I believe that creators should know their worth and know their value, right? You're not going to do work for free. And I've never done affiliate marketing because I like when brands understand that they're working with me, not just because they're getting conversion, but they also get to utilize my name and say that they're working with me and getting access to that partnership. And then 3, I think that brand partnerships are ever changing. This landscape's changing so constantly. The definition of how we work with brands is ever constant. It might be equity partnerships. It might be creator-led brands. It might be, just a standard flat fee brand campaign. It's ever adjusting. This industry is ever adjusting.
I love that. So ladies and gentlemen, in order to close out this panel today, the 3 big takeaways that I've pulled away from here. 1 is that regardless of the technology, the narrative is what matters at the end. Second point is that it's not the content itself, but rather how much are you really connecting with your audience, whether it's for older generations or for younger. Can you simply find a pain point and provide as much value for that audience? And even if that audience is a brand that wants to eventually hire you. And finally, of course, that AI, of course, is coming, but there's still a long path for us to go. It is a tool for you to all start learning and using. Oh, and the 4th one, make sure you apply for Guinness World Records because apparently that's untapped right now, right? But ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chirag. It was a pleasure to be your moderator. Please give a big round of applause for our amazing panelists.
Thank you, Shira.
You guys did the hard work of doing the great stuff. I just get to put a spotlight on it, right? So thank you so much, y'all. Have a good day.